All right. Well, we are straight up 11 a.m. on the hour, and I want to respect everyone's time and thank you all for being here. Welcome to the Mylio Photos Coffee Break. My name is Angela Andrieux, and I'm a product evangelist for Mylio Photos. Most of you know me by now. And my job is to help you be successful with our software and answer any questions you have. Today, we're going to talk about the new Mylio Photos 22.2 that's coming out very, very, very soon. So when we scheduled this session, my hopes had been that you guys would have this already in your hands. I knew it would be a close call because development timelines always tend to shift, and we like to be a little bit more cautious in sending out software when we've made a lot of big changes, and we want to make sure everything is solid and going to work really well for you. So we're putting a few final touches on things, making sure everything is really, really good to go. And I truly hope that you guys will have this in your hands before our next coffee break. That is my hope, my expectation. I can't promise anything, but that is what we're looking at. So what I'm going to do today is give you an overview of all of the new features. And then over the coming weeks, we're going to go into each section of those and take a deeper look at each one of them. So today's going to be just kind of a general overview. I'll show you the new user interface, which you've gotten a little bit of a preview of in the past few weeks. But this will give you a little bit better look at what each of those tools is expected to do and where to find the things that you're used to using. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will jump in. So let me jump over here to Mylio and just minimize a few things on my screen so I can see what I'm doing. So welcome to Mylio Photos 22.2. This is the first of many big changes we have to the user interface that's coming over the next, I would say probably about 6 months. And our goal is to really make things much easier to use. We're not taking away any of the functionality that you already know and love. In fact, we're adding quite a bit, and a lot of that we're adding has come from feedback that you've given us. So if you've put in feature requests in the past, know that we are listening, and a lot of what we're doing is based on what you guys want. So hopefully you like these changes. And like I said, this is part of a bigger plan for a huge interface change that should be around by end of summer. So here we go. So you'll notice that I have a lot more real estate for my pictures. So where you guys are used to seeing your views here at the top, so up here at the top is where you would normally see your views, which is where we have all photos, the calendar, map, moving to folders, things like that. All of those are now on the left sidebar. So we have icons for each of those views, and they do exactly the same thing as they did before. It just takes away a little bit of that screen that it's using for that real estate and gives that back to your pictures. Your right panel is also over here on the right, and all you have to do is expand that to get to your regular info panel, map panel, edit, and so forth. So coming in the next couple of updates, we're going to be doing a major refresh on the right panel. But in this release, our big changes are here on the left. And I'm really excited to show you what we've got going on. So the first thing, I'm going to pop this open. Right now I'm in the All Photos view. And this is our new quick filters. So quick filters are a quick and easy way to find just about anything in your library. I'm going to go ahead and collapse this down. And you'll see that we have easy ways to find things by folder, by date. If you go into by date range, you can set one of these presets, and you can also do a custom date range using all of our regular dating tools. So all of that should be very familiar. But you can say, I want all of my pictures from the last 365 days. And that's going to pull in all of those pictures. And you'll see here at the top, we have what we call a pill, and that's showing you what's being filtered. I could even pin that and say, I want everything from the last 24 hours as well, which is included. But you'll see that adds an additional pill. And then if you want to get rid of those, you can quickly click that X and jump right out of that. So you have a lot of options by ways to filter and stack these filters in a very visual and easy to use way. So while we still have the option to type in those crazy Boolean strings for searching and filtering for things, you don't have to anymore, which is really, really awesome. For those of you who still want to enter those strings, you can go down here to by custom and type in all of those things to your heart's content. They still all work. You just don't have to use them as much anymore. If you want to go into by camera and by lens, you can choose by camera, by lens. You can go ahead and here to Canon or camera. And let's say we want to see all of our Canon cameras. And let's say we want to see, okay, here's the EOS 6D. We go in here and it's actually showing the serial numbers. So if you have multiple cameras of the same make and model, you can actually filter by the serial number of that camera. So you can get very granular in what you're looking for very, very easily. You can also go up to by file type and find all of your raw files. So let's say we want to go here into photos and we just want to find all of our raw images. We can go ahead and click that, and that's going to pull up all of our raw files from all of our different cameras. Or we can go down to by file extension, and let's say we want to find all of our things from the CR3 file type. We can instead click on that and see all of the pictures that are the CR3 file extension. So there's many, many different ways that you can go through and find things very specifically without ever leaving the all photos view. And that brings me to another small change, is that it used to be with filters in Mylio that they would be persistent from view to view. So if you set a filter in all photos and you clicked over the calendar, that view would, or that filter would persist. That's no longer the default, but you can do that if you want. So what I'm going to do is click this little link icon, and that's going to make it persistent across all of the views. So I can then jump over to my calendar, and that's going to show me all of my raw files that are CR3 extension on this calendar. And it'll be persistent across all of those calendars. If I don't want that to happen, I can just click this unlink. And when I switch back, it's going to go ahead and clear those filters, or it should have cleared those filters. That might be a bug. I need to check on that. One of the reasons why it's not quite out yet. But that gives you an idea of what you can do and how you can navigate. Before we go much farther, are there any questions? All right, how do those look to you guys? You excited about that?
I think they are. Angela, there's two questions. Rob has one asking, Are smart tags assigned by the image recognition image?
Yes, so we have added AI image recognition, computer vision that goes through and recognizes image traits, objects that are in images and so forth. So we're going to talk about that next. And let's see here.
I'm doing the happy dance. I'm doing the happy dance.
Go ahead.
I'm doing the happy dance.
It is exciting stuff, right? I'm so thrilled about this release. Kirk says, if you considered when thinking filter by dates, things like major holidays, New Year's, Christmas Day, Mother's Day, etc. That's a really great idea. You can go in and pull certain dates. If you wanted all your Christmas stuff, you could go in and pull just December 25th. But yeah, finding specific holidays around the world, that's a cool idea. I like that. I would encourage you to pop that into our feature request area of the forum. So if you go to forum.mylio.com, there is an area specifically for feature requests. That would be a great place to post that. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to smart tags. These are by far one of my favorite things in this new release. And they just make it really easy to find things. So we've added, Lori, do you happen to know the number off the top of your head? It's like well over 1,000 different terms. And we're going to be continuing to build this library of things that Mylio looks for. And the really, really cool thing about our AI smart tags is all of this object recognition is done on your machine. Your pictures are not being sent out to the cloud, so everything is private. A lot of other AI recognition tools rely on the cloud, rely on having some database somewhere scanning your photos. We don't do that. Everything takes place locally on your machine, so you get the benefit of the added privacy, which I love. So let's go ahead and start by going down here into animal. And y'all know I'm a cat person, so I'm going to go ahead and click on cat. And without me having to do any keywording or renaming of files, anything like that, it has recognized all of the cats in my library. Now with AI is not perfect, and it has a confidence score that is assigned whenever it looks at an image and it says, yeah, I'm fairly confident that this is a cat, or maybe not so confident. And you can actually adjust this here in Mylio. So if I click on the settings wheel here, you can see I can adjust the AI sensitivity. So I can say I want fewer matches that are more accurate, or more matches that are less accurate. So you have the control to really be able to find things that you want. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And let's say I wanted to find everything related to this picture. So I knew it's a picture that was taken somewhere near this. You can always right click on that image and you can say show in folder, show in calendar. When you click show in calendar, it's going to show that day and all the pictures taken from that day. So it's a great way to navigate and drill in to find things that you need in a very specific and fun way. Continue on a little bit here about smart tags, and we'll dive into this far more. We're going to do an entire session later this month on smart tags. But I'm going to go ahead and open up our right panel and scroll down. You'll see that this particular image here, go ahead and just double click on that so you can see it larger. You'll see there's no keywords that I've added. The file name is very generic. And I think it's just in my iPhone, my iPhotos folders. But what it has here are my smart tags. So it recognized an animal, blurry, bright, cat, and color. And when I search either up here with the search tool or I use the smart tags, any one of these smart tags is searchable. But these are, how to say this, these are just in Mylio. They're not saved to your metadata. You have the option of promoting a smart tag to an actual keyword, and keywords are saved to your metadata. So any of the smart tags that you're seeing, those are Mylio specific, and you're not going to see those anywhere else. However, if you say, I do want to have the cat keyword showing in my metadata for all apps to see, and I also think this is bright, animal also fits, I've now promoted all of those keywords to actual keywords. Conversely, if I look at this and I go, well, this is kind of bokeh, but I wouldn't say it's blurry, I can actually just click that X and that gets rid of that smart tag. So you have a lot of control over how those are done. You also have the option, if you go in and you click that X and you get rid of one, you're like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. You can just right click on your photo and say rescan smart tags, and it'll bring those back. So again, lots of control, lots of fun. These smart tags are amazing, and it's only going to get better. So there are going to be a lot of things that I'm sure as you go through and go, why isn't this recognized or why isn't that recognized? Let us know in that feature request section of the forum, because we're constantly working to train the AI. This is just version 1, and it blows my mind. So keep that in mind as you go through and use them, that we are constantly training and that this is done locally on your computer. So when the AI improves, that means we have to roll out an update because we're not doing it from the cloud. So, all right, looks like we have some more comments here in the chat. Let's see what we've got going.
Yeah.
All right, really appreciate the level of flexibility control. Me too, it's awesome. Huge leap forward, brilliant. I love those comments. Are the smart tags generated once the new version is installed? More like face detection currently, so you would find new ones each time Mylio starts. So when you first launch the new version, much like that first install, you're going to give Mylio some time to scan your library. And it's going to take a bit of time for the smart tags to generate, because it is going through and scanning each individual image on your computer. And the larger your library, actually, the better the AI smart tags are, because it has a bigger pool of images to draw from. Let's see here. In case of the latter, let's see here. So if you need to force Mylio to rescan any image, like I said, you can just right click on that image and choose rescan smart tags. And you can do that for a single image, or you can do that for an entire group of images. So you could conceivably go here to all photos, do a select all, Command or Control A, right click, and choose rescan smart tags. So you can tell it to rescan your library at any time. Any other questions? All right. So let me briefly jump back here and talk about quick filters. You'll notice that I was able to build up some very cool different groupings of pills there at the top of different quick filters. So we've added a thing called quick collections. And basically what that is a grouping of quick filters that you can go back to easily anytime you want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this icon, and I've added a few, and it comes pre-built in with quite a lot. So we can go down and we can find all of our pictures of sharp cats. And you'll notice it says not blurry. So on any of these tags, you can go in and say, instead of you want blurry, you want everything that's not marked as blurry. So you can right click and exclude. And so all my cat pictures that are sharp is what I'm seeing here. We can also go here into quick filters and say we want to have all of our happy people. So let's go ahead and switch to that. And that's going to be, oops, I accidentally just clicked on there. There we go. People with eyes open and smiling. Pretty cool, right? Now we can also do things that are a little bit more practical in nature. So this is one that I created. There's one built in here for 4 and 5 stars. So depending on how you like to rate and tag your images, I use 4 and 5 stars, but I also use my pick flags very generously. And when I'm looking at my entire library, both my personal and professional photos, that's where the 4 and 5 stars and picks come in really handy. I typically only use stars for my professional work, but my personal work, the things that I'm, pictures of my family, of my cats, things that I just really like, I'm going to mark with a pick flag. And you can use those flags and stars and all that, however you like, but that's how I use them. So I created this custom quick collection of 4 and 5 stars. So everything that's 4-star, everything that's 5-star, and everything that has a pick flag. And then I can look through my entire library and find all of those images. I could then even click on that link and jump to my calendar. And again, it's going to show only those best images that I've rated as a 4 or 5-star or added a pick flag to. So those are going to be my favorite images of all time. Now we can take this a step further, but before we do, are there any questions or thoughts on quick collections?
Angela, I do have a question. Sorry, I wanted to ask earlier. When you were promoting the smart tags into keywords, I saw you did that with a single image. Can you do that with a bulk number of images?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
So
that's okay.
What we can do here, let me go ahead and clear out our filters, go back here to our all photos, and I'm going to go back down here to cat. And so I have all these pictures with cats. I'm going to go ahead and just do a Command A. And so on all these pictures, there's a lot of things that it's selected, but I could promote, let's say, all of these with animal.
Yeah.
I could go ahead and click that check mark and promote animal to the keyword on all of those.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
You're very welcome.
So, all right. Angela, Luke has a question. Can you change the or to filter to and instead of
not
or
yet?
to
it's
and.
Coming. So keep in mind that with these quick filters, this is version 1, and it's already super, super powerful, but we acknowledge that there is a lot more that we can do with this, and those types of modifiers are coming. Not in this version, probably later this summer, early fall. All right, any other?
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other thoughts or questions? Let's see. Can I easily choose a person and indicate I want all pictures in several different date ranges? Yep, absolutely, Cleveland. You can do that. All right. So let's move on to a little bit more technical stuff. In the past, using Mylio Photos, setting up new devices and setting up custom sync policies, meaning what is stored on each device and what quality is on each device, was pretty complicated, right? Like all of us can acknowledge that. Well, we've done some cleanup on this. And again, this is just phase 1 of a bigger change to make this process easier for everybody. So what I'm going to do is click here on my Mac, and I'm going to go to, we now call this device sync policies instead of, I think it was device quality before. And you'll see that I have options to add quick collections, and we have some new presets. So if I go ahead and scroll down this list, you have photos only, which is going to be, it's going to exclude videos, it's going to exclude documents, and do just photos. Space Saver is the default for everything. Travel backup keeps, I believe it's the last 3 months of originals on that device. So it's a really easy way to designate like a small SSD drive to be a travel backup while you're on the go. And then of course, our favorite, everybody uses them, or at least we hope so, your vault, that is your main repository of your entire library. And hopefully you have at least 2 of them, so you have a backup. So these are the ones that come built in right now with Mylio in this next release, but you can also customize these in a variety of different ways. So you have your originals, and what we were calling smart previews in the past are now called optimized images. And you can apply quick collections. So if I want to say I want to have on this computer in optimized format, I can add a quick collection. And I want all my 4 and 5 stars and pics locally available on this computer for access even when I'm offline as optimized images. I can go ahead and click that and add that to my list, and it's going to start syncing that media to this local computer. And you can choose any of your devices to really customize what you have with you and what you need at any time. So quick collections are great for just browsing and getting to certain groupings, but they're also amazing for helping you set up those very custom uses for device syncing. And we'll go into that a lot more here in the coming couple of months when we dive into some of these topics in a deep way. Any other questions?
There is a question from Mark who's asking if we are already installed and configured, is this update changing our current choices?
It will not. If you already have things set up the way you want them, just leave it alone. It will continue on exactly with what you have set. However, you go in and start making changes, it will then apply those changes. You'll see over here on the right, it says Space Saver, but it has an asterisk. That's because I have some custom things already set up in there. And then over here at the bottom, you see I can go ahead and clear the folder-based policies, which are some of my own customizations that I set up. So you have options to further customize, to keep it as it is, or completely start over, reset it, and then, you know, just make it a little bit cleaner and better for your use. I went through my own stuff and I set all of my computers and mobile devices to the Space Saver. And then I have a couple of folders that I have as exceptions. So it's whatever works best for you and your personal workflow.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, so the next thing I would like to point out, who here has heard of Frame.io? Yeah, go ahead.
So the catalog means what is today thumbnails in that option?
Correct. Thumbnails and metadata.
Yeah, and then the customizations of the folders. Is there a way to see which folders have been customized?
You can do that here under the folders view. So we still have our same tap to sync.
Thousands of folders.
Let me think if there's a better way to see those. In the current version, I don't believe there's a way to see them either, unless I'm missing something.
No,
do you recall?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the...
Okay. That's something that if that would be helpful to you, I would suggest going to forum.mylio.com and putting that in as a feature request because, you know, for those of us who do have big libraries with lots of folders, that would be very useful.
Yeah, a query will solve this, Angela. And as soon as I get the update, I'll write that query and put it up in the forum.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. All right. So next on our list of things to explore is Frame.io. And this is a new service. It is owned by Adobe now. They just recently bought Frame.io for a massive amount of money. So you can tell when Adobe is really interested in something, it's probably pretty cool technology. And what it's been used for is collaboration and project sharing, primarily for video editors, but they're expanding into still photography. So it's a platform for sharing and collaborating. And it's also being used by its camera to cloud. So it's a technology that's coming to Fujifilm cameras and a couple other manufacturers. And I think it's probably going to spread pretty wide where your pictures are automatically uploaded to the cloud. What Mylio has done is incorporated a downloader, and soon it will have a project sharing tool as well. That's not in this first release, but if you go to add media from an online service, you now have this Frame.io folder importer. And I don't have it set up on this account. I have tested it on another account. It's pretty cool. You just log in with your Frame.io account. Any pictures or videos you have up there, Mylio can download them and put them exactly where you want them in your library. It's pretty slick. All right. So I've given you an overview of all of my favorite things. Another one that I want to mention is we have a massively improved list of keyboard shortcuts. So if you like to work with keyboard shortcuts, I think the list is probably about 4 times longer and way more useful than it ever has been. And those will be in the new revised version of the manual that I'm still working on, but it is nearly complete. So we'll have all of those lined out for you so you can see what those keyboard shortcuts are. And if you like to use those, that's going to make your workflow that much more faster. fast and efficient. And then another thing that we have coming, let's see here. Rob would like to know if we have a firm release date. We do not. So what I mentioned at the beginning is, while I had hoped to have it in your hands by when I scheduled this particular session, I knew it was a little bit tenuous because development dates typically shift a little bit. And we are hoping to have it out towards the end of this week, but it might push towards early next week. So no promises, but it is very soon. And we're just tidying up the last few things to make sure that this is a stable and useful release for you guys. All right. So
Angela,
last thing I want, go ahead.
Sorry, there's one more question here. Cleveland was asking, are you adding a feature that allows you to privatize a photo across all views?
Okay, so that's going to probably be coming with our categories, not in this release. I'm hoping by end of summer that we'll have better integration for categories to have like private, personal, business, things like this, that you can select basically a workspace and be able to hide things that way. Right now, you can't do that, but what I have been doing, you go ahead and jump out of this for a moment, is I've set up my own quick collections for specific kind of workspaces. So I can go, let me jump back up here to all photos, open that back up. So go to quick collections, and let's say I'm wanting to create screenshots for the manual. And all I want to look at is the sample library. I can go ahead and just choose sample library. I'm now filtered to the folder for just the sample library. And you can do this with your own personal categories as well. And then I can click that link to make sure that's linked across all my views. And now when I go anywhere, I'm just looking at that sample library, and I'm not seeing any of my own pictures. I'm just seeing those ones that were there that we can use for marketing and such. You can do something similar with choosing specific folders or keywords that you have. So all you're viewing are those things, and that will essentially hide those things that you've marked as personal. So the last thing I want to let you know about is you might have read on some of the bigger photography blogs and websites that we are introducing a revamped free Mylio Photos. So the big change that's coming is we will have Mylio Photos and we will have Mylio Photos Plus. Mylio Photos by itself is going to be a free application. Mylio Photos Plus is our subscription. So what you know is Mylio Photos today, what you're running here today, if you're a paid subscriber, you will automatically be transitioned to a Mylio Photos Plus subscriber. So nothing on that front is going to change for you. Everything will continue to work as you know it. But what you can do is tell your friends and family about the new Mylio Photos free. And what that does is it lets them use Mylio Photos on a single device. They're not going to have the opportunity to use the backup. They're not going to be able to sync between different devices, but they can get in here and they can use smart tags, and they can use the life calendar and start to explore. And it's a great way to introduce people to Mylio Photos. And then once they see the value in this program, then they can go ahead and if it's a good fit for them, then they can go ahead and subscribe and get those expanded tools. Another thing that's unique to Mylio Photos Plus subscribers is the photo dedupe tool. That's one thing that the free version will not have access to. So there are some great benefits for continuing to be a subscriber, and we will go more into detail on that when we get to the launch.